Welcome to Department of Distance and Continuing Education, University of Delhi, Master of Business Administration, Semester 1. Core Course MBA FT 6106, Human Resource Management. Lesson number 8, Grievance, Conflict Management and International Dimensions of HRM. 8.1, Learning Objectives. The objective of this lesson is to understand the concept of grievance, causes, and importance of handling grievance, the importance of discipline to maintain good work relations and attain organizational goals, employee engagement, its importance, and factors affecting employee engagement. Lastly, the objective is to understand international dimensions of HRM, difference between traditional HRM and international HRM. 8.2 Introduction. This lesson is designed to provide an understanding of the terms grievance, discipline, conflict, employee engagement, and international HRM, which assume importance due to new challenges thrown by globalization, workforce diversity, and economic uncertainty. The lesson covers following subtopics in detail. Number 1, grievance. With human relation approach to management, organizations need to constantly address the issues of grievance, identify grievance, and devise methods of handling grievance. Unaddressed issues of grievance can create frustration, stress, and loss of interest in work. Understanding the need to address grievance can go a long way in building employee-employer relation. Number 2, discipline. The need for discipline cannot be undermined in the achievement of organizational goals and maintaining good work environment. Number 3, conflict management. Each organization experiences some level of conflict, whether inter-individual or intra-individual. Newer methods of handling conflicts need to be adopted, keeping in mind the dysfunctional impact of conflict. Number 4, employee engagement. The organizations need to engage the employees in the managerial process like planning and decision making in order to keep them satisfied and involved in the job. Lastly, international HRM. Going global has also increased the necessity of understanding the aspects of international HRM. The new challenges and opportunities created by international HRM need an understanding so as to ensure greater and better mobility of workforce in order to keep them satisfied and involved in the job. Additionally, each organization experiences some level of conflict, whether inter-individual or intra-individual. Newer methods of handling conflicts need to be adopted, keeping in mind the dysfunctional impacts of conflict. The need of discipline cannot be undermined in the achievement of organizational goals and maintaining good work environment. Going global has also increased the necessity of understanding the aspects of international HRM. Clearly, the unaddressed issues of grievance or conflict can create frustration, stress, and loss of interest in work. Understanding the need to address grievance and conflict can go a long way in building employee-employer relation. Engagement, involvement of employees, and maintenance of disciplinary environment can also reduce the chances of grievance or even conflict. The new challenges and opportunities created by international HRM need an understanding so as to ensure greater and better mobility of workforce. 8.3 Grievance. Understanding grievance and its features. Grievance is the feeling of injustice or discrimination in treatment or an experience of unfair treatment or exposure to unfavorable situation or any dissatisfaction from the job or an aspect of the job. An employee can experience grievance in job related matters like performance evaluation, promotion, leave transfers, training, and even compensation. According to Michael, grievance is an discontent or dissatisfaction, whether expressed or not, and whether valid or not, arising out of anything connected with the company that an employee thinks, believes, or even feels is unfair, unjust, or inequitable. Keith Davis defines grievance as any real or imaginary feeling of personal injustice which an employee has concerning his employment relationship. The following are the features of grievance. Number one, discontentment with some aspects of the organization. The dissatisfaction or the feeling of injustice must be related to the organization in which a person is engaged. For example, it can relate to unclear authority responsibility relationships, reporting to multiple bosses, violation of rules and procedures of the organization, treatment by the supervisor, etc. Number 2, discontentment arises out of employment. Grievance is something that is related to the job or personal difficulties. Thus, discontentment due to family or marriage or personal financial issues does not qualify to be grievance. It can include dissatisfaction from wages or salary, denial of leave, lack of recognition for work, biased performance evaluation by supervisor. Number 3, dissatisfaction may be expressed or implied. Grievance may be expressed in words, either in gossip or argument or by communication with supervisor. It may be implied, conveyed by the conduct of an employee through his behavior, which can include absenteeism and daydreaming. Organizations should promptly identify and handle the grievance as it can have unfavorable consequences for the organization. Number 4, dissatisfaction may be real, imaginary, justified or unjustified, valid or invalid. Grievances that are genuine, real, or justified should be removed by the management. Employees may also be faced with grievances which are emotional in nature or based on distorted perception, imaginary, or lack of proper thinking. These grievances may be difficult to handle. Number 5, feeling of injustice. Worker feels that there has been unjust or unfair treatment. For example, employee might feel that the supervisory style is biased, or a self-motivated employee might not perceive autocratic leadership style as favorable. Number 6, grievance, if not handled in time, may lead to low morale or productivity. Grievances, when identified in the employee, should be handled appropriately. If not handled on time, grievances may hamper progress of work or motivation to work or morale or even efficiency to complete the task. Thus, grievance, if not removed in time, can negatively impact the organizational goals. 8.3.2, Causes of grievance. Grievance can occur from two broad categories. Number 1, management policies. Management policies include discriminatory wages, overtime, denial of leaves, unreasonable transfer or improper matching of employee with jobs, subjectivity in seniority, promotion and discharge, lack of career planning and employee development plan, lack of role clarity, autocratic style of leadership. On the other hand, working conditions include non-availability of machines, tools, and other equipments required for doing job, lack of proper facilities for work like restrooms, drinking water, ventilation, tight production standards. 8.3.3, Consequences of grievance. Grievance, if not addressed on time, may have adverse effect on the employees and the organization. Some consequences of unaddressed grievance are discussed below. Number 1, the employee experiencing grievance may witness a sense of frustration, disloyalty, and non-cooperation. Number 2,
They may lose interest in work and show signs of disengagement. Number 3, there may be indiscipline in the form of absenteeism, demonstration, strike, etc. Number 4, the quality and quantity of output may suffer in the organization. 8.3.4 Importance of handling grievance. It is pertinent to handle and redress grievance on time so as to ensure that grievance does not have unfavorable impact on the organization. The importance of handling grievance is discussed below. Number 1, grievances help in maintaining employee-employer relationship. Number 2, Number 3, constant monitoring of cases of grievance assist management to understand the behavior of supervisor towards subordinates. Number 4, if grievance handling mechanism is in place, then employees know that their issues would be resolved to their satisfaction and this would boost their morale. Number 5, timely handling of grievance can help create a favorable work culture. Point 6, the reputation of the organization improves when management gives due attention to human aspect and respects the dignity of employees. 8.4, discipline. Organization needs to cultivate the environment where there is orderly behavior of employees for the achievement of goals of the organization. In the absence of discipline, there will be chaos, irregularity, disorder, or even confusion in the organization. Existence of discipline encourages the employees to follow the rules, procedures, and practices and behave responsibly. But today organizations have realized that discipline should be followed voluntarily or not because of threat of punitive action. Thus, concept of self-discipline by education and training should be encouraged. If an individual is in conflict with the disciplinary process, then it might be difficult to maintain good human relations. Thus, discipline needs to be developed from within. 8.4.2 Principles of Discipline. Discipline is the essence of our life. The prerequisites of any disciplinary policy in an organization is as follows. Number 1, the objective of discipline should be clearly understood by workmen. They must clearly specify the standards expected from the workmen. Number 2, clear and unambiguous rules and regulation must be set in consultation with workmen, which serve as a code of conduct. Participation of workmen in designing rules and regulation would ensure their prompt acceptance. Number 3, the code of conduct must be made known to all those who need to follow them and all those who need to monitor the observance of this code in the same sense. The newly recruited employees should also be given orientation regarding the same. Number 4, these rules should also contain the provision for investigation and settlement of grievance and conflict arising during the course of work. Number 5, the policy should emphasize on observance of the code and prevention of breach of disciplinary rules rather than penalties or indiscipline. Number 6, Code of conduct should specify the authorities to be approached for grievance related to discipline. The code should state the quantum of punishment for violation of disciplinary conduct. Number 7, disciplinary committee may be established for looking into the causes of indiscipline and measures to remove indiscipline. Number 8, implementation of disciplinary code of conduct should be objective and consistent. 8.5 Conflict management and dispute resolution. Conflicts are indispensable in our everyday life. It is present in our personal life and professional life. Especially in case of organizations, the manager needs to understand the consequences of conflict and learn to deal with it. Conflict can have adverse impact on the organization like inefficiency, loss of interest in work, absenteeism, low productivity, stress, tension, depression, and demotions. The conflict of work may have a spillover effect in personal life of the employees. Conflict is a situation of imbalance or difference. It can be inter-individual, among individual, or intra-individual, that is within individuals. In case of intra-individual conflict, the individual is in state of conflict in his mind as he is not in the situation to make the decision in a particular situation. He is in dilemma over particular issue. For example, there might be conflict of interest in the mind of employee as organizational and individual interests are different. But an individual is in inter-individual conflict when there is a conflict with some other individual or group of individuals, either because of difference of opinion or breakdown of decision making. For instance, in teamwork, the delegation of responsibility may be difficult due to differences in opinion of team members on fixation of task responsibility. The nature of conflict is as follows. Conflict exists when there are alternative courses of action available and there is a difficulty in selection of the best alternative in the given circumstance. Conflict is dynamic process as it involves various stages or events. A conflicting situation does not occur overnight. Its presence is due to a series of events occurring over a period of time. Conflict must be perceived by the parties standing in conflicting situation against each other. If there is no such perception, then there can be no conflict between the parties. 8.5.2 Adverse impact of conflict. Conflict may be bad as it has the possibility of affecting the efficiency, productivity, and willingness to work. Following are the adverse impact of conflict. Number 1. Resignation of personnel. An individual may be encouraged to leave the job to avoid the situation of conflict. The individual employee may resign if he feels dissatisfaction or strongly feels that he might not be able to continue with the organization. This might lead to the loss of key personnel of the organization. Number 2. Tensions. Conflict may lead to a situation of stress and even tension. In extreme cases, the management may find it difficult to deal it. Timely action should be taken to avoid anxiety, frustration, depression, and sense of insecurity. Number 3. Discontentment. Conflict presents circumstances of dissatisfaction, discontentment among the two opposing parties. This difference can be accelerated if the management fails to take corrective measures. In this win-lose situation, the parties at dispute may seek opportunity to settle scores which can adversely affect the productivity of the organization and attainment of organizational goals. Number 4. Creation of distrust. The opposing parties might lose trust upon each other, which has the tendency to cause work delays. It gives rise to negative feeling and parties may avoid interaction with each other. Number 5. Goal displacement. Conflicting parties may concentrate on winning the conflict, thereby causing wastage of time and effort in looking for tactics. This may distract the members from focusing on organizational goals and rather encourage the conflicting parties to concentrate on personal goals. Number 6. Weakening of organization. The organization may become weak because of the conflicting situation. Frequent conflicts may cause the tension and distrust among the members of the organization, which can cause the resignation of key skilled personnel. 8.5.3 Modes of handling conflict. In order to avoid dysfunctional aspect of conflict, every organization should devise strategies to effectively deal with it. The following are some suggestions to deal with conflicts. Number 1. Avoidance and repression. Avoidance means ignoring the conflict and repression calls for putting down of this conflict by the manager. This strategy includes A. Avoidance and ignoring the conflict. It requires the manager to avoid the conflict and pretend as if there was no existence of a conflict. This method is advisable for insignificant matters and matters relating to anything other than work like religion, caste, politics, etc. This method is useful when differences are not related to organization's task. B. Reorganization of groups. Management can also look at reorganization of the groups so as to place people together on some common grounds. Grouping people with some similarity can help build their relations and assist in building cooperative work environment. So, C. Reduction of interdependence between groups. The existence of interdepartmental dependency among various groups in any organization can be a cause of conflict. This interdependency can be because of resource limitations or sharing resources. The reduction of dependency may reduce intergroups differences. Point D. Dominance or repression of difference. It means the conflicting parties gets a chance to redress the conflict by solution given by higher level. This method of resolving conflict is appropriate when delay in handling conflict can be costly. For instance, in cases when alternative project opportunities are delayed due to the existing conflict. This method may be viewed as an autocratic response to conflicting situation. Point E. Regulation of interpersonal contacts through transfers. Transfers of employee participating in conflicting situation to different departments or branches could also be helpful in reducing the conflict. Point 2. Containment of conflict. The managers surface the conflict, regulate the issue to be discussed in the conflicting situation, and manner of resolution. The strategies include A. Compromise or bargaining. It is a form of set-off in which two conflicting parties exchange concessions until compromise is arrived. In this arrangement, both parties stay consistent with their stand but slowly reach an agreement when both parties are willing to alter their stand and compromise to terminate the situation of conflict. Bargaining continues until mutually satisfactory arrangement is reached. Point B. Restructuring interactions between the groups. Encouraging formal communication of those groups which are dependent on each other for resources can reduce conflicting situations. Involvement of third party can also be utilized for resolving the conflict, as open discussion of conflict could further increase the conflict. Point 3. Confrontation. In this method, manager permits both parties to face each other and sort out the differences. This method involves dangers of spreading ill will against each other and should be used with caution. In this method, the parties get a chance to understand their differences, the procedure to resolve the conflict, and their roles in resolving the conflict. For example, the removal of Cyrus Mistry from the post of chairman of Tata Group led to the confrontation between Tata and Cyrus in the media. It helped understand their perception of conflict and deliberate on the friction. This helps identify the real reason for the conflict. Number 4. Problem solving. In this method, the focus is on transforming the negative feelings of discontent and frustration by diverting energy towards creativity. The manager plays the role of communicator who recognizes the conflict among the parties, their relationship and feeling. The management may engage an insider consultant to assist the two conflicting parties to identify the conflict and manually decide a solution to remedy the situation. Point 5. Conflict stimulation. This strategy is based on the assumption that moderate level of conflict is essential for existence of creativity and innovation. The tactics involved in this strategy are: A. Communication. Manager can manipulate messages to stimulate the conflict. For example, messages may include threats to downsize. However, planting such messages in the communication network should be done diligently to stimulate conflict. Point B. Encouraging competition. Conflict can be utilized to encourage healthy competition among the groups and individuals in the organization. Additionally, incentive schemes, bonus, or rewards can act as motivators for outstanding performance in the competition. Point C. Bringing in new employees. Addition of new employees to the existing groups of workplace having different attitude, beliefs, background, and values can enhance disequilibrium or conflict. This disturbance because of disequilibrium will cause members to struggle for new equilibrium. Point D. Restructuring the organization. The management can restructure the organization, its rules, or practices to increase the interdependence among the groups. This will help in stimulating conflict, disturb the status quo, and demand adjustments. 8.6 Employee engagement. With growing competition, globalization, uncertain economic conditions, demand for talented workforce, the need of employee engagement is gaining significance. Engaged employees are committed, passionate, and attached to their jobs. They help increase productivity, attain organizational goals, and provide competitive advantage to the organization. It is an important aspect of employer-employee relationship where leadership plays an important role. Employees in general experience three levels of engagement: engaged, number one; number two, not engaged, or disengaged. Engaged employees are those who work with passion towards organizational goals. Not engaged employees are those who participate in work but without passion and energy. While disengaged employees are those who are unhappy with work and display incomplete role performance. Clearly, maintaining engaged employees is essential to avoid situation of job hopping, absenteeism, labor turnover, or even low productivity. Engagement helps increase morale, loyalty, motivation of workforce, greater retention, higher level of creativity, and better customer service. Different views were presented by different authors to give an understanding to employee engagement. According to one school, a needs satisfying approach in the understanding of employee engagement is essential. Different views are presented by different authors to give an understanding to employee engagement. As per one view, employee engagement is described as the degree to which an individual is attentive and absorbed in the performance of his/her job, which in turn leads to fulfilling positive experience and state of mind. This positive work related experiences are likely to result in desired work outcomes such as increased commitment to the organization. Robinson defined employee engagement as a positive attitude held by the employee towards the organization and its value. According to Gallup, the employee engagement refers to an individual's involvement and satisfaction with as well as enthusiasm for work. 8.6.2 Factors affecting employee engagement. Several factors have been identified by researchers which affect the engagement of employees at work. Some such factors are discussed below. Number one, career development. Employee engagement is high in organizations providing opportunities for career advancement. Thus, organization providing opportunities to learn more skills, enhance ability, or even knowledge assist the employee to reach their potential. Number two, leadership. Engaged workers seek leaders who recognize their effort and work and encourage them to reach their potential. A leader should be a visionary, influencer, good communicator, and future oriented. He should involve the employees in the process of decision making, articulation of vision, and maintain good leader member exchange to ensure engagement. An effective leader should positively consider feedback from employees to ensure participation and engagement. Point 3, effective management of talent. There is diversity in talent of the employees engaged in the organization due to job requirement, task demand, or individual factors. Engaged organization recognize the diversity in talent and skill and encourage each individual employee to reach higher vision of themselves. They provide training or skill development workshops to ensure continuous development of talent required to fulfill tasks in turbulent situations. For example, with initiation of artificial intelligence, banks are training staff to understand the use and advantages associated with AI enabled banking solutions. Point 4, clarity of company values, policies, and practices. In order to engage employees, there needs to be clarity of values, policies, and practices to ensure the trust of employees in the system. If values or policies are ambiguous, employees may feel a biased treatment towards them. Thus, clarity of values and practices is essential to gain trust of the employee and engage him. Point 5, equal opportunity and fair treatment. There is high employee engagement when employees are treated equally, fairly, and justly. Thus, employer must ensure equal opportunity for career advancement, training, promotion, and fairness in pay, performance evaluation, and entitlement of leave. In cases of inequity or discriminatory treatment, employees would show withdrawn symptoms and hence disengagement. Number 6, communication. Effective upward and downward communication ensures good relations between employer and employee as instructions pass easily and feedback is accepted well. Open door policy in context of communication plays a significant role in employee engagement. When the employee understands the policy, instructions, and rules, he performs better in comparison to a situation when he lacks the understanding. Point 7, quality of work relationships with peers, supervisors, and subordinates. The relation shared with colleagues, whether supervisors, subordinates, or peers, determines engagement level in the organization. An employee sharing friendly, transparent, cooperative relation with the peers, supervisor, or subordinate will encounter higher level of engagement. On the other hand, employees experiencing exhaustion or strained relations may experience low level of engagement. Thus, it becomes essential for management to maintain good quality of human relations with personnel. Point 8, performance appraisal. A just, objective, and unbiased evaluation of performance of employees can retain high level of engagement in the employees. A clearly defined and transparent performance evaluation mechanism can increase commitment and participation of employees, while a biased system of performance appraisal may give rise to dissatisfaction and grievance, leading to withdrawal from participation and involvement. Point 9, pay and benefits. An appropriate mix of monetary and non monetary benefit would ensure engagement of employees in the life of the organization. Employers should strike a balance between work done and compensation rewarded. When pay is directly related to work, the worker would stay motivated to work. Any ambiguity or inequity in pay and benefits may be a cause of disengagement among the employees. Point number 10, health and safety. Ensuring health and safety of employees at work can increase the levels of engagement. Thus, working conditions, compensation for accidents during the course of work, reasonable work hours, installations of precautionary measures, insurance policy ensure engagement of employees. Employees exhibiting low level of engagement might be exposed to higher level of risk of health and safety. Point 11, job satisfaction. Satisfied employees are more inclined to express high level of engagement and involvement. Dissatisfied employees slowly disengage from the organizational life. Thus, organizations must ensure proper work life balance and integration of individual goals with the organizational goals. 8.7 International dimensions of HRM. With the mobility of human resources and globalization, business expands beyond their domestic boundaries to provide goods and services to people spread in different geographical locations belonging to different culture with organizations going global manage human resources not only in their domestic boundary, that is parent country, but also in host country and other countries who may be the suppliers of human resources. HRM involves the functions of recruitment, selection, training, development, compensation when organizations are operating only in parent country. These functions in case of international HRM would be performed in three countries: parent, host, and other countries. Thus, international HRM is the interplay among the three dimensions, namely human resource activities, types of employees, and countries of operation. International HRM involves broader functions than domestic HRM. International HRM can be distinguished from domestic HRM on the following points. Number 1. Broader HR activities. International HRM involves an understanding of international taxation, international relocation, orientation, relations with the host government, dealing with expatriates. Number 2. Different tax laws. Expatriates working in a country other than home country is faced with different tax structures. The HR department is required to design the compensation such that there is no tax incentive and disincentive. The tax liability usually arises when the task project is complete. Thus, designing suitable compensation plan is essential. Number 3. International relocation and orientation. Challenges such as pre-travel training, immigration, housing, medical, travel details, relocation allowance, international allowance, etc. needs to be worked out. Point number 4. Host government relations. It's essential to maintain relations with host country as parent country would need work permits, clearance to set up business, etc. The compliance with legal framework of host country is essential for operations of business in countries other than parent country. Point number 5. Extensive involvement of HR personnel in personal life of employee. The HR personnel may need family details to arrange family visa for relocation or may be required to constantly explain the housing medical facilities extended by employer or may need to arrange schooling if employee is posted in remote areas. Thus, the scope of functions of HR department may expand. Number 6. Risk. There is a risk that the employee may not be able to settle in the foreign country and may want to return back to its parent country. In such cases, the cost of relocation may be huge and the employer may have to bear the loss of such failed experiment. Additionally, the risk due to terrorism, virus, or economic uncertainty can also be immense. It is the responsibility of HR department to place the right candidate on the foreign project or assignment. Point number 7. Cultural environment. When people are posted in a foreign country, they might experience a cultural shock. It happens when an individual stays away from his culture and slowly appreciates a different culture where he witnessed different beliefs, attitudes, and value system. 8.8 Summary. This lesson provides insights to both employer and employee as journal as sorry This lesson provides insights to both employer and employee, as generally, employers focus on organizational goals and ignore employee centric issues like grievance, conflict, and engagement. Any employee can be suitably motivated if the employer can satisfactorily redress his grievance, maintain the discipline, resolve conflict, and engage employee at different stages of management process. This understanding can create harmonious relationship between employer and employee and benefit the organization by enhancing the quality of work. The understanding of different aspects of international HRM can further be helpful to the reader to appreciate the importance of this area. Thanks for listening.